Hello, my name is Sarah and I'm one of the course managers for biology. So why would you want to study biology? Well, biology is an exciting practical science that helps us to understand and appreciate the living world and how the many species, including humans, function, evolve and interact.
I've always kind of been interested in kind of how things work, and it's quite cool to see like how you yourself work.
We've seen recently how crucial biology is to the world and how having an understanding of biology can help with finding vaccines for new emerging diseases, informing government policy, helping us find treatments for existing disease, or leading to improvements in agriculture or biotechnology. Things like DNA sequencing could help with testing someone to see if they carry a gene for a genetic disease. And biology can also help us understand the effect that climate change has on species and their interactions. So when you study biology, initially you'll start by building on the things that you've learned at GCSE, but going into them in more detail. So we start by looking at the chemical structure of molecules that make up living organisms, things like carbohydrates, lipids and proteins. And then move on to cells and all the detailed things you would find within a cell if you looked at it under an electron microscope. We consider how they function, how they divide, how they carry out things like protein synthesis. And then we move on to look at tissues and organs, things like the heart and the lungs, and how they transport oxygen and other molecules around the body. It's not just about animals and humans though. We do spend time talking about plants and microorganisms and fungi as well. We then move up to whole ecosystems and consider things like biodiversity and how you might sample an ecosystem to study it. In the second year, you study biochemistry by looking at respiration and photosynthesis in quite a lot of detail. Then we go back to some anatomy and physiology by looking at organs such as the liver and the kidneys, and the brain, nerves and hormones. And we also consider certain conditions like diabetes and kidney and liver disease, and different treatment options that might be available for people with those conditions. Later on, we look at some of the newer areas of biology, things like cloning and biotechnology, some of the gene technologies and gene therapy, and consider some of the ethical issues that surround those new technologies. Biology is a practical subject, so we try and do as many practicals as we can, partly because we think it really helps you to understand the theory, but also because students find them fun and it means you can engage with other students and move around the lab. We also try and do lots of other activities, such as paired discussions and group work, card sorting activities, and many other things to help you keep interested as we work through the theory.
In the practicals, we've looked at the different transport systems in animals. We've dissected locusts, basically cut them open, found the spiracles, put them on a slide and looked them under a microscope, which is pretty interesting to look at.
So biology is assessed using 3 exams at the end of the 2 years. So they're quite long exams, 2 of them are 2.25 hours and 1 is 1.5 hours. In addition to this, you're assessed on your practical skills to form a practical endorsement, which is just a pass or fail. And you'll write up all your practicals that you do over the course of the 2 years in a lab book that we will give you, and your teacher will assess you on those skills. We offer a trip to Broughton Boroughs at the end of the first year of the course, where we go and look at the beautiful sand dune system there and see the various plants that grow and think about how they're adapted to grow in that environment. We also offer an extensive enrichment programme for biology, something called Lab Rats and something called Free Range Rats, which allows you to do a number of different practicals that go beyond what you would normally do as part of your specification. We also offer the Biology Olympiad competition, both at the international level and at the intermediate level. So one of the common misconceptions about biology is that it is the easy science. The thing with biology is that there's a huge specification and you do need to learn it all, and you need to know the detailed terminology that goes alongside it. And whilst we make the lessons fun and engaging, it will require quite a lot of hard work outside of lessons. You also need to have good math skills because there's quite a lot of maths involved in analysing the data. However, all the biology team are very supportive, and you can always come and ask us if you're struggling at all with the subject, and we can give you some extra support.
It's quite easy to stay focused, I think. It's friendly and relaxed almost. It's a first name basis with the teachers, and so it's really easy to kind of get on with them.
So over the course of your study of biology, you'll develop a wide range of skills. Some of these are practical based, so you'll learn how to plan practicals, how to follow instructions carefully, how to take measurements with precision. And you'll also learn how to analyse data and how to critically evaluate experimental procedures. In addition to this, you'll be working with others in the class, you'll be needing to communicate your knowledge very carefully, and you'll be learning how to make evidence-based decisions. All of these skills are really important in the workplace in a wide range of careers. Biology is such a broad subject that there are so many different areas in which you could specialise in the future, or different careers that you could go into. For example, biology is important in things like medicine and veterinary science, nursing and radiography. But it's also important in areas such as forestry and conservation and agriculture or fisheries. It's useful for things like forensics and also for things like genetic counselling. So there are many, many options available for you should you choose to study biology.
I'd really recommend this course to future students because it's really easy to get into and really interesting once you start doing it.
If you want to make a difference to future populations, then having a detailed understanding of biology really could be one of the ways you could do so. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope I've inspired you to study A-level biology.